This is the Pantech C740 Matrix, a new messaging device for AT&T's 3G network. You can see that the Matrix has a design similar to the Pantech Duo, a smartphone powered by Windows Mobile that AT&T sold in the past. As such, it has a dual slider feature like this. It exposes a regular flat alphanumeric keypad, and when you slide the top of the phone the other way, a 3-row QWERTY keyboard. You can see that the screen reorients itself quite quickly when we expose the QWERTY keyboard. The entire menu system works in both portrait and landscape modes, which is kind of nice. The D-pad on the Matrix is surrounded by 6 little buttons here. These narrow buttons act as the soft keys, dedicated music key, dedicated back key, and the call, send, and end buttons. They're a little thin, not the best design I've ever seen, especially for the soft keys. Probably would have been nicer if they were larger buttons up here, but they work in general. The keypad's also a bit of a mixed review. It's flat, which we're kind of used to in a post-Razer age, but the feel just isn't fantastic. You don't have to be super accurate, but they're not as forgiving as I would have hoped for. Backlighting's okay though. QWERTY keyboard, on the other hand, the backlighting's quite bad. In good light, it's very easy to read, as you can see right here. But when the lighting gets a little bit less good, it's hard to see the letters. They're not as lit as well as the symbols in the corners of the keys. Also, the 3-row QWERTY layout is a little bit more difficult to deal with than a normal 4-row or 5-row. That's because the things like the spacebar have to go in the middle of the keys. Normally, the B and the V would be right next to each other, and the spacebar would be underneath it. But with this layout, things get a little bit cramped, and you get odd things like the enter key here and the delete key to the left of it, and there's definitely no P above the delete key on a regular keyboard. So you get used to it eventually, but it does take a little bit of time to adapt. You'll see here in the upper right and upper left hand corners we have soft keys for when the phone's being used in landscape mode like this. It replaces the 2 narrow keys up here. In terms of buttons and ports on the device, there's not too much. Back here we have the micro SD card slot. There's the lens for the 1.3 megapixel camera. Shutter button for the camera right here. This is the Pantech standard power port, which means it won't work with micro USB or any other non-Pantech device you have. And then a normal volume control key here. Pretty clean design. Little ridges running up here, they're kind of nice looking. Deep metallic blue paint. It's kind of nice. The main menu on the Matrix looks very standard AT&T. Comes in 2 themes, white and black. We're using the white theme, which is a little bit easier to see on video. Not very fancy looking, but functional nonetheless. The keypad works as a shortcut to the various menu items, so as you can hit the 1 and go to the upper left hand corner icon, which of course is the AT&T Music Store. Same way we can hit the 4 key to jump to the web browser. The web browser works in both portrait and landscape mode, as you might suspect. We'll pull up the Mobile Burn web page here. Works pretty well for mobile formatted websites. In speed tests that we've run on the device, we've managed 550, 575 kbits per second on the 3G HSDPA network that AT&T runs in the area. You can see that the phone is equipped for AT&T Navigator using the AGPS function built in. And there's other things like messaging. Instant messaging in particular is nice. You can run AIM, MSN, or Yahoo Messengers, although only one at a time. Here's a quick look at the keyboard in action. As you can see, it's pretty easy to use at a decent clip. Phone also supports T9, though it defaults to triple tap, so you have to manually switch it to T9 mode first. So that's the Pantech C740 Matrix, new QWERTY messaging device for AT&T. It's in stores right now, selling for $79.99 with a 2-year contract.